Back to another YouTube video. It's your boy Araya G. Today we're gonna react to 10 terrible matches featuring great wrestlers. We're gonna react to 10 terrible matches featuring great wrestlers. Let's get right into Let's get right into the video. I accidentally pressing files and stuff, but yeah, we're gonna react to 10 terrible matches featuring great wrestlers. I just said that 3 times. Let's go.
Listen up, football fans.
I knew an advertisement was coming.
In the ring together, fans, rightly or wrongly, expect greatness. Hell, they'd expect a match between great workers to be, at the very least, good. And yet, sometimes great wrestlers aren't able to get things to passable. Because whether it's due to bad booking, unfortunate injuries, or simply having an off night, otherwise excellent wrestlers have been known to produce a dud or worse. I'm Sam Driver from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10 terrible matches featuring great wrestlers. Join us! Number 10, the Brothers of Destruction versus D-Generation X at WWE Crown.
Wow, man. Well, I know that this match wasn't long, right? I don't think this match was a long match. You guys let me know. And do you guys think this was a good match? I don't think I sat down and really watched this match.
Duel 2018. Well, we might as well just get this monstrosity out the way right off the bat, eh? WWE's multi-year deal with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has led to the company booking some major matches featuring big-time stars who, it's fair to say, were in the twilight of their in-ring careers. Or, in the case of Shawn Michaels, actively retired. The Heartbreak Kid wrestled for the first time in over 8 years because he knew he'd get a massive payoff for essentially working what should have been an easy match with a few of his mates. But on the night, the 4 Hall of...
This is technically Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement, correct?
Famers had a collective shocker, not helped by Triple H tearing his pec early on. Injury or no injury, this was a sad spectacle that bordered on farcical at points, such as when Kane...
Wait. Triple H got injured in this match? And did Kane's mask get taken off in this match? Because I literally see his face is unmasked.
His mask simply fell off his face. Michaels, Triple H, Taker, and Kane might have been a quartet of legends who were all considered superior workers in their prime, but at Crown Jewel 2018, it was evident that they were 4 old men who were well past their best, trying and failing to recapture former glories in an overly long pseudo-epic full of blown spots. Number 9, Sting versus Jake Roberts at WCW Halloween Havoc 1992. On paper, a match between Sting and Jake Roberts should have been pretty damn good. A gritty heel who uses psychological warfare against a fiery, clean-cut babyface writes itself, no? And despite perhaps not being in the same shape he'd been in during his 80s WWE run, the Snake still had plenty left in the tank and could have, in theory, bounced around for the Stinger down in WCW. Whatever good match they could have had in the Halloween Havoc 92 headliner was taken off the table when they were
I didn't even know Sting and Jake the Snake Roberts even had a match against each other.
Strung by a ludicrous stipulation. Having spun the wheel and made the deal, the 2 men were saddled with competing in a coal miner's glove match, an antiquated glove on a pole stip that was easily the least inspired choice on the wheel, which reportedly wasn't properly gimmicked. Roberts is on record as calling it one of his worst matches ever, as the silly rules sucked the life out of the thing, while Sting was apparently unmotivated to rise above it on the night. The finish, which saw a deranged Cobra bite Jake in the face, was completely ludicrous. Number 8, Rick Rude versus Masahiro Chono at WCW Halloween Havoc 1992. We're sticking with Halloween Havoc 92, a show...
We got another vid with Rick Rude. Ravishing Rick Rude.
that had some really good matches on the undercard, but was dragged down straight to Suckville by the 3 final bouts on the card. Worst of the bunch was the NWA World Heavyweight title match between Rick Rude and Masahiro Chono, which featured Harley Race as Ravishing Rick's hand-picked special guest referee, and Kensuke Sasaki as Chono's. Chono and Rude had actually put on an absolute blinder in the final of the New Japan G1 Climax just a couple of months earlier, which saw Chono beat Rude to win the vacant title. So just what What the hell happened here then? While Chono was going into the match with a pinched nerve in his neck and was clearly not at 100%, that doesn't exclude the 22.
That's actually a bad injury. A pinched nerve in your neck. That's not good.
2-minute ball fest they tortured the audience with. Seriously, absolutely nothing happened for the vast majority of this so-called contest, as they trudged through a series of mind-numbing rest holds that make watching paint dry feel like a NASCAR race by comparison. To cap it all off, the match ends rottenly, as Chono's disqualified for throwing Rude over the top rope. At least it was all over. We could all at least be thankful for that. Number 7, Ricky Steamboat and Nikita Koloff versus Steve Williams and Terry Gordy at WCW Great American Bash 1992. Just look at the line.
Alright, what we're gonna do is we're gonna skip through some of these matches, because a lot of these matches I do not know. And some of these names I'm just not really familiar with. I do know the guy, I don't, his last name was like, it started with a V, but he was in a WWF team, and their gimmick was like a culture, a country, or something like that. This one right here, and I think I just saw Ricky Steamboat, but let's continue.
Lane 2015. At the very first AEW show, Double or Nothing 2019, Cody Rhodes and his older brother Dustin tore the house down with an emotional, blood-soaked epic that, to this day, still ranks as one of the best matches in the promotion's history. It was some vindication for Dusty's sons, because just 4 years earlier, they absolutely dogged it on a WWE pay-per-view. Squaring off in their first singles meeting as Goldust and Stardust at Fastlane 2015, the Rhodes brothers should have had a hate-filled, intense grudge match, something the Bizarre One's pre-match promos seemed to hint at. But then they just went out there and kinda wrestled a bad flat match that died before the crowd's eyes. There was no intensity, very little in the way of drama, and nothing about it that wouldn't have you thinking you were watching an episode of Main Event or Superstars. Adding insult to injury, the finish looked bungled as the referee appeared to hesitate on his 3 count while Cody looked to have kicked out. There will be no restart, lads, or rematch. You're done. Thank God. Number 5, Kota Ibushi versus...
Alright, we're gonna skip this one. I know this is like NJPW or something like that, the company. Alright, let's see. Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund. I think I've seen this match. No. Because Bret Hart and Bob Backlund, they fought at Survivor Series, I think, because I think I have it on DVD. But if I'm mistaken, I think they wrestled at Survivor Series too. And Bob Backlund put Bret Hart in a chicken wing. That's what his finisher is called. It's called chicken wing. Like, and it looks like a dangerous submission move. It looks like it's painful.
Year 11. When it came to Bret Hart at WrestleMania, expectations were typically high. As a singles star, the Hitman had classics with Roddy Piper, his brother Owen, Shawn Michaels, and Steve Austin on the grandest stage. In 1995, however, when Bret was arguably at the peak of his powers, he was put in a no-win situation. Bret and Bob Backlund had actually had a surprisingly good submission match at the 1994 Survivor Series, which Hart has said he was very proud of, given the decidedly old-school Backlund's obvious limitations. But their Mania match? Not so much, with Bret labeling it one of his very worst. Fought under I Quit rules, so basically another submission match, with Piper installed as guest referee, it was full of boring holds and featured the Rowdy Scott obnoxiously asking the competitors if they wanted to give up, seemingly every 15 seconds. I sure as hell wanted to give up while watching it, and it looked like the sleepy crowd did too. Backlund didn't even say I quit when Bret...
I like... My favorite match type, I think, is Falls Count Anywhere, but I Quit match, that's definitely one of my favorites up there. What's it called? First Blood, Last Man Standing, Iron Man match. They don't really do much Iron Man matches.
locked him in a crossface chicken wing, and Piper just put the match out of its misery. No.
This is why I need a video editor so I don't have to deal with advertisements. But you know, it's fine. Cause you know we're gonna get hit with an ad anyway, so. This one's skippable.
Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe at WWE Backlash 2018. A match between Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe, two big burly Samoan bastards who like to throw heavy bombs, should, by rights, have been a hard-hitting war. And to be fair to the big dog and Samoan submission machine, the two of them had produced several rewarding matches on Raw, including a really good Intercontinental title outing on the January 1st, 2018 episode. Fast forward 4 and a bit months and Reigns and Joe were tasked with headlining the Backlash pay-per-view. That was the task anyway, but someone must have incorrectly informed them they were closing out some run-of-the-mill house show based on what they gave the 15,000 fans in New Jersey's Prudential Center. It was a slow, tedious slog full of rest holds and lacking in passion or any meaningful action. Having already suffered through an under-par show, many in attendance opted to leave during the main event, while those who stayed heckled it with boring and beat the traffic chants. After Roman's predictable win, those who had remained to see it through immediately headed for the...
You guys think Samoa Joe should have, you know, got the win? Like, you think Samoa Joe... Because, you know, I don't want to say put a wrestler over. Because sometimes when I use that term, I end up saying it wrong. So, do you guys think that Samoa Joe should have beaten Roman clean? Did he beat Roman clean at one point? I don't think so. But he could have. They could have pushed Samoa Joe, you know?
Exits, and it was hard to blame them. Number 2, Barry Windham versus the Great Muta.
I've heard of the Great Muta. He spits like some green mist. I don't really watch him like that. We're gonna skip past this match. Let's see, what's the next one? Steve Austin, Undertaker.
2002. Steve Austin and The Undertaker were two of WWE's biggest stars during the Attitude Era and wrestled each other umpteen times in various types of matches on both TV and regular pay-per-view. And curiously, none of them were really any good. Despite being iconic characters who could work great matches with other opponents, they just never clicked when they were in the ring together. Which was also true of their last ever televised singles meeting, an undisputed title #1 contenders match with Ric Flair as the guest referee at Backlash 2002. Taker wasn't exactly in the middle of a purple patch as far as his in-ring work was concerned at this point, while Stone Cold was so disinterested in his creative direction and so physically burnt out from wrestling and the road that he would walk out on the company less than 2 months later. Given a frankly staggering 20...
Alright, that was 10 terrible matches featuring great wrestlers. Tell me what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. I got more videos coming. Stay tuned. And yeah, Uriah out.